Todd, thanks for joining.
Thank you so much for having me.
How are you?
I'm pretty good. Well, like I was saying, I just got off a plane to England, so I'm a little jet lagged, and but, I have a 2-year-old at home, so I feel a little brain fog just in general in my life. But
We'll go easy on you.
yeah, don't ask me anything too specific.
Indeed. So you said that your wife is from the
From
UK,
Brighton, yeah,
from
yeah, she's
Brighton,
uh-huh.
where you are now, and after you're going to be there for a little while, and then you're going to go to Cyprus for a residency. Is that right?
That's right. A friend of mine that I met in New York, who's from Cyprus, opened a residency called Memaraki in Limassol, and we've been there twice before. And we're gonna go back for the summer. We've about 2 months there, I guess. And my wife has a gallery she works with over there that she's gonna prep a show for. So
That's
it's
awesome.
gonna be yeah, it's gonna be great.
I can think of worse places to spend your summer.
No, it's like a lot of Greek food. You can walk to the beach. Your situation is really cool. Like you can see the studio from the bedroom. So like we put the kid to bed and you can go work late and still have the baby monitor going. It's a good setup. It's really nice and short. Looking forward to it.
That's great. So your wife is an artist too?
Yeah, yeah, she's a sculptor. She basically does everything except painting. Like she does performance installation, sound stuff, ceramics, bronze, foundry, like just anything you can imagine. Just cyanotypes. Yeah,
Did you guys meet in New York?
we met at an artist residency upstate at Wasaic 10 years ago this summer.
Mm.
Um, so she was in town. She was in at Wasaic, and we crossed paths, and maybe we thought maybe it would be just a kind of fling thing. But I had a few shows in Europe the year after, so we I had a show in Geneva, and I was like, "Do you want to come to Geneva? I'll be here for a month." And she came down, and we kind of just kept it going, and went back and forth for many years. And she got her green card, what, like 2 years ago, I guess. So she's a New Yorker now, trying to figure it out.
And you've been showing in New York for some time now.
Yeah, yeah. Let's see. I mean, I think maybe 2013, 12, something like that. I guess I started to actually show. I moved to New York in 2004, and I went to this New York studio school for 3 years, and then I was kind of in the woods for a while trying to figure it out and work the day job. And
Do you mean the figurative woods?
yeah, like just not literally the woods, but just like I'd go to art openings in Chelsea, and it didn't feel like I had anything to do with me, and like I wouldn't have anybody to talk to, or and my work wasn't really hadn't congealed yet. I didn't feel comfortable showing it. It didn't feel like had found my voice or anything. Um, so it took me a little while to develop it, and then also like to start to like meet other artists and go to the galleries that would like I had a chance to show with, to find those people and everything. But yeah, I think my first like real show, like not in open studios or something, was in Ridgewood at Valentine with Kathy Bradford, and then I got a gallery in Bushwick, Life on Mars, and showed with them a couple times, and then Lower East Side, and then Uptown, and it kind of just went from there.
So Valentine was the packing company, right? And they
No,
have
it's
a
this guy Fred Valentine. He ran a. I don't know if you ever met Fred. He's got a twin brother named Ed that he's like estranged from, who makes similar paintings to him. But
so
Fred
he's
Valentine.
he's an artist too.
Yeah, Fred paints. He's a really good painter. He's a like good community builder. He put on some really interesting shows out there. Um, and I met a bunch of people like through that gallery and through that crew.
And Kathy's awesome. She's gonna be on the pod soon.
Yeah, well, tell her I said hello. I used to
I
stretch her
will.
canvases for her.
Oh yeah. Oh
I've known
cool.
Kathy for forever. She's the best.
She's so cool.
Yeah,
So you started showing this is back in like 2012, 2013, something like
yeah,
that.
something like that.
I think you and I met some years ago through Courtney Andrews via Yours, Mine, and Ours gallery.
That's right, right. Courtney and well, Courtney had worked at the Life on Mars where I was showing in Bushwick, and then they closed, and she started her own thing with some other people in the Lower East Side, and I went over with her.
Yeah, that
So
was a great show. I remember that first show.
oh, thank you. Yeah,
It's beautiful.
and Courtney's great. And she has a kid. who's like same age as my kid, so we get to see them a little bit, which is nice.
Nice. Yeah, I guess you enter a different social scene. You have kids, right?
Yeah, no, I mean, you're kind of at their mercy, and bedtime's at like 8 o'clock, so it's a different kind of thing. So yeah, it's nice if you can choose your kids' friends. So if your friends have kids, it's like, oh great, I get to keep seeing you, you know.
Has being a parent changed you, changed your work or your approach to the studio, or how has it affected your studio practice?
Um, I mean, it has and it hasn't, but I guess I feel like I remember when my wife was like 8 months pregnant, like lying in bed with her, and it's like 11 o'clock in the morning, and I'm like, I'm not gonna get to do this much more. Like, now we get up at like 6:30, whatever, and kind of hit the ground running. And um, the kid goes to daycare 2 days a week, so we have those like two times where we can both be in the studio because we're both artists, as I said, and so it sort of feels like I used to be able to kind of roll into the studio late and have lunch and lay down and play on my phone and kind of waste time, I guess. And now I feel like there's a much more of a sense of urgency. I get in and I like start working, like because at 2:30 I've got to leave and go pick her up from school. Like so it feels like yeah, you try to get it done while you can. And also I guess mentally, emotionally, the work, like when she first appeared, I was like making baby paintings or like trying to figure out how this new little person in my life was going to show up in the art, or if she was, or in what form. And I guess it I'm 2 years in, I'm sort of more thinking actually about like my dad and me being a dad and sort of, what my dad did for me and like how I'm going to be as a father. I guess it kind of reminds me like of the early years of South Park where like it was all about the kids, but then like later it's more about like Randy Marsh, or like Homer Simpson instead of Bart. Like I feel like I think like when The Simpsons started, Homer was probably Matt Groening's dad. The same with South Park. Like I feel like that they think of the father figure as the dad. Then once you are the father figure, you kind of like it almost. I mean, it feels like imposter syndrome a little bit. Like I would go to the playground with the baby and be like, people are going to call the cops on me for being in the playground. I really shouldn't be here. Like I'm not like, the parent police are going to tell I don't know what I'm doing. Like I
Yeah.
felt like such a fraud pushing that stroller around. Like, oh
I
my
feel like you
God.
have
Like,
that with art too, though. For at least
yeah,
for when you're coming up, I think most people feel like an imposter when they're developing as an artist.
absolutely. Yeah. I mean, probably still, it seems like such a silly thing to do in a lot of ways, like what you can get away with maybe, or yeah. So I feel like, yeah, that's an interesting thing. Yeah, that's nice. I like that. Yeah. So I don't know. So I've been painting dad bods, and I've been painting, just thinking about how I perceive my father and how my kid perceives me, maybe. But yeah,
Schedule wise, did you like to work late at night and now you have to work different times?
yeah. Because I mean, I guess I could probably put her to bed and then come back and work, but it's sort of like you also want to see your wife, and you also like, I mean, when I was a kid, my dad was like, I felt like we have a nice relationship, but I feel like he like is more, it was like the '80s, and he would work, and I would see my mom mostly, and I wouldn't see him as much, and I feel like in this situation with my kid, like me and my wife feel like we split it more, like it feels like I'm much more present because I'm not at the office all day. I'm available to do the dad things.
What did your parents do growing up?
My dad was a doctor, and my mom she was a high school teacher before she had kids, but she was like at home with us, like when I was growing up mostly. But it felt like much more of like a TV show family, or much more like gender roles, I guess.
Yeah, same with
But
mine. Yeah, my,
yeah,
my mom would stayed home for most of the years. I mean, she raised five kids, and it was like there was a different time. It's like it's funny how just gradually things have changed in the
yeah.
culture, where that's not as normal.
Well, again, and you're gonna be able to tell how much I've been thinking about dads and TV. I guess like like Married with Children or something like. Albany's supposed to be like a loser, and he works at a shoe store, but he's got like two cars and a two-story house and a big, his mortgage was probably like $350 a month or something. Like nowadays, it's prohibitively expensive. I mean, I think
Yeah.
to be in New York City with a kid, you come up with like $8,000 every month or something, or at least. Like it's just a different. Yeah, we went to get like mayonnaise the other day. The store was like $10. I was like, what the fuck? Like, just like everything
It's a
like
different
that.
world.
It really, like we're not fancy people, and I'm just like, how is this? How do people survive? Like, I don't understand. Like,
You shop at Aldi, maybe that's the way to do it. Just keep your overhead as low as you can.
right, right. Well, I mean, part of the reason we'll be in Cyprus this summer is we can sublet our place, and then being there, everything's like, you can still get hummus for $1. Like, it just, yeah, it feels like financially responsible to be in Europe rather than New York City for half of the year. So, I feel like that's what we've kind of been doing lately.
Are you guys both full time in the studio for the most part?
I feel like we have been, but again, I think we've kind of come to the realization, like, I think we're gonna have to like find other stuff. Hannah does like art direction stuff, like working on commercials and TV, and I don't know, I'm trying to find some teaching gigs or whatever, like just to kind of pick up the slack. Because again, like even if not to be negative, but like it feels like everybody's kind of struggling right now. Galleries, the artists alike.
Did you happen to read that Josh Klein article? It's called New York Real Estate and the Ruin of American Art.
I haven't read it, but I bet I know what it
You
says.
know, you get the gist of it. Yeah, exactly. And he was talking about how he had this mid-career retrospective at the Whitney, and he still is like, I don't know if I can afford, it's still, and I've seen that, man. I've worked for artists who were like artists showing in big galleries, and now they have other jobs. It's just a different world we're in, for better or worse.
I think
And
worse. It feels
yeah,
worse.
maybe worse.
I don't know. I
But
mean, I guess, yeah. I think as maybe. I mean, I have I used to live with a bunch of roommates, or I used to like have an air mattress in my studio, or my overhead used to be like very very low. So you could kind of like, if I can make $1,000 this month, I can get through. I feel like in the early days it was kind of like that.
yeah,
And like now it's like, well, we have like a decent apartment and we have a studio and we have a kid and we've got daycare and da 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 da. So it's a different, you know, I've scaled up the expenses or whatever, but it still doesn't.
I think it'd be really hard to come up as a young person now.
I've been saying that. I mean, because I remember again, like when I first moved to New York 22, 23 years ago, like I lived in the city in the beginning, and I had a horrible apartment in Chinatown for $800, and I had a 6-story walk up in Nolita for $600, and I split a studio with a friend in East Village, and we each paid 700. Like it
But
was,
you could do it. That was
you could do it
doable. And
and be in like a cool neighborhood, and like
you freelance a little bit here and there. The first studio I had was $350. And I slept, it was like the reason it was so cheap. This is back in 2013. That was still cheap for then, but it was like in this studio building and I was squatting there basically. You weren't supposed to
yeah,
live there.
yeah,
But there was a big block. The stairwell went under this big block, and it was in the it took up most of the floor space of the studio. So it was just most of the studio was just a big block, and then I would paint, using like those weird hallways. I don't know if you call them hallways, but just like the
yeah,
space that was actually floor space. I would just paint against the wall like that, and then sleep on the block for a couple
yeah,
of months, and then a bigger studio opened up, 650 a month, and I was living there, same thing for
yeah.
about a year. No shower, I just showered at the gym, but you
Yeah,
could do it. Did
this
you do
sounds
it?
this sounds very very familiar, and I'm not going to tell you my addresses, but I did that same thing at a couple
Yeah.
studios, and my studio mate would go home, and I'm like, I'm right behind you, and then I'd fill up my air mattress and just go to sleep on the floor. You know,
I think if you're in your 20s or early 30s, you're physically a little more able to withstand that kind of stuff.
yeah, yeah. Well, I think I could stand it, but I think my wife would leave me.
Yeah, it's probably healthy to have especially if you got a family to have like a more, but it's hard in New York, and you're trying to make it work in New York. And I think externally people see someone who like yourself is showing and seems to be having a good career, and they don't see the reality, the
Yeah,
difficulties.
Well, I don't want to talk about this too long because it's like not. I guess there's that cliche like when artists get together, they talk about real estate or something. Like you know, it's great. Like I'm doing exactly what I want to do. This is everything I could hope for. I'm totally privileged. I've had a solo show like every year for many years. Like it's I'm really excited about my work and what's happening. There's also, but it's when I was everybody's always told me like nobody. It's a hard life. Like your teachers in college are like this isn't going to work out for any of you. Like it's not. This is tough. This you're going to have to sacrifice, and like 1% of the people actually make a living doing it, and everybody else like maybe their thesis shows the last time they ever show at all. Like it doesn't. It's a you have to make certain decisions to like have this happen. Like I feel like as I said earlier, I was in the woods. I was working, and I'd come home and I'd paint at night or I'd paint on the weekends, and kind of like not half-ass it, but I wasn't like there was a point where I like fully was like, I can't work anymore. It's got to be this. And I feel like I totally just like was like having a mental breakdown. I'm like, I've got to be painting or like I'm gonna die. And I like, just made every day I tried to do something to kind of just like build the thing. And
Maybe that was necessary to get your work to a certain level to have that pressure.
yeah, totally. A bit. And again, I feel like another thing happened, and well, it just feels like in New York, you meet all kinds of different people from all over the place, and there's this thing of you go to you're like, well, where'd they come from? And it's like, oh, like they had a lot of help or something, like, or like, oh, they're like beautiful people, and like, of course you would give them like, not that that's the only thing, but it just there are things that can sweeten the pot for you or make things easier for you or whatever, like you can't help it if your friends know Jeffrey Deitch or something. Like it's if your parents know these people, it kind of is a nice thing for you.
Or you just get
There's some
lucky. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's lucky, but it's also like if you can be in the right room at the right time, and like if some people have to work all the time and they're in the studio the rest of the time, but you've got advantages. It sort of it makes it fast tracks the thing, or it helps you get in front of the right people. And it's not a meritocracy.
In your case, it's really about the work.
That's a nice way of you saying that I'm ugly,
No,
right?
no, no. What I'm saying is that you're one of us.
Yeah, yeah. No, I mean I went to Louisiana State University. I didn't know that I should have gone to Yale. Like I was going to be an architect because I was artistic, and that was like an artistic. Like I was like, oh, if you fill out the aptitude test, it's like, oh, you should be an architect because you're artistic, and that's a job. I'm like, oh, cool, I'll do that. Like I didn't. I feel like my kid growing up in Brooklyn, if she wants to do anything artistic, she's going to be have a huge advantage over what my advantage was. And her mom's good looking, so she's got like it's going to be she's a shoe-in if she ever wants to go in the arts. She might move to Vermont and be a farmer or something, but like I wouldn't be able to open any doors for her if she wants to do that. But if she wants to meet some gallery people who like figure painting, like yeah, I know them.
That's good. So you grew up in Louisiana,
Yeah, in Arkansas,
in
we went.
Arkansas. You grew up in Arkansas and then went to
hmm
Louisiana State.
Yeah, I was born in Arkansas, lived in Louisiana as a kid, and then we were in Arkansas for like junior high, high school, and then I went back to Louisiana. But my family's from Louisiana, so I feel like I should say Louisiana, but um, I did have formative years in Arkansas, so
And
yeah,
then went to school at the New York City School
yeah,
for grad school.
yeah. I mean, yeah, yeah,
And then you ended up just living in New York after that, obviously.
yeah. Well, I was living in New Orleans after LSU, painting and waiting tables and stuff, and I applied to some grad schools, and New York Studio School took me, and I was like, New York's. I've been to New York before, and that sounded good. I wanted to go. I guess my fear living in New Orleans was that I was going to be doing paintings of Louis Armstrong or like Bourbon Street or something, or like be more like regional or something, or doing commissions. And in my mind, I kind of wanted to be more of like a, an artist, So I thought New York would be the spot, And as we say, and then ironically, after a little time in New York, I realized that the Louisiana thing, the Southern thing was like part of me. And, maybe it was something I should embrace and like let out in the work a bit because it made it different and personal and, more like the only kind of paintings I could make, because I'm not a New York abstract expressionist. Like I'm a guy from Louisiana who moved to New York. So um, you
Now
know,
that you mention that, you can really see it in your work, that energy, that freeness, and that life, my perception. I can see that coming out in your work, but it has the level of sophistication because you've been in New York for so long. You've seen all the art. So there's a really nice way that they work together, your background, your early influences, I assume, and then also just being a New Yorker.
totally. I mean, I think at this point, I've been in New York longer than I've lived anywhere. So it's kind of, I mean, I feel like a New York artist for sure. And, I don't, after all the Trump stuff, I don't have any inclination to move back to Louisiana at all. Even though there's some nice things about it.
Do you ever go back and visit?
Not too much. Usually we do Christmas with my wife's family over here, so I feel like that would, maybe once every year or two I go down. Not too much.
Now I can't help but think of your paintings with a kind of a little bit of a Mardi Gras influence
Yeah,
in the best possible way. They're like parties. Whenever I look at I just feel happy looking at your work.
well, that's good. I feel like there's like love and optimism in the paintings. I feel like I was talking to I was on a panel or something, and Alexi Worth was like, they're violent, but they're not like gory or like, there's like a slapstick or like a, I feel like optimism, there's darkness, but I think that there's no, I don't know. They're not like mean spirited. I feel like they're more often than not like, funny or positive, maybe.
They're alive, and that's life. There's a life isn't all happy. There's that
Absolutely.
element. Yeah,
Absolutely. No, it's a yin and yang, a bittersweet thing. Totally. The if you want there to be light in your painting, you have to have dark shadows. Like it's a, you gotta have both.
exactly. And but there's a real generosity as well in your work, and I've always admired that. Of not just generosity in terms of materially and thickness of paint on a substance level, but the generosity of spirit.
Hope so. Thank you for saying that. Um, yeah, I mean, I try to make them as good as I can. I feel like I put a lot in. I don't feel like anything comes easy. I feel like I'm gonna try that again. I'm gonna try that again. I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get it. Like if they feel like there's a it's a labor, but it gets there eventually sometimes.
Is it all wet in the wet?
I mean, yeah, yeah, I feel like, yeah. Well, it can't always be, but I feel like, if I had my way, it would happen, in 15 minutes, and then it doesn't, and it starts to get muddy, so I got to stop. But
Then do you scrape it off and repaint it, or do you just
yeah,
know it?
there's
Oh,
there's scraping. Sometimes, I mean, I feel like nothing's off the table. Like I like to scrape. I think that helps me to like, simplify or find out like what the big ideas are so I don't get bogged down and you get like weird color things that happen when you scrape. I think scraping's a really good way to work. And I work on like, yes, well, I mean, I'll work on 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 paintings when I go in there. If I'm working on small things, like I'll just work on something for 10 minutes and then put it down and pick something else up and just kind of go where it goes. Or if one seems interesting, I'll do another painting just like that one or try it in a different color or something. Like there's a lot of I feel like for every painting I post on Instagram, there's like 10 or 15 paintings that didn't make the cut or something. Like there's a lot of false starts or not false starts. They're just sometimes they just take a long time to kind of coalesce.
so do you work on all those paintings at the same time so that you can kind of let it sit for a bit and see how it's working and then come back to it?
Yeah, well, like on small paintings, like an easel-sized painting, like, with a big brush, it gets painted, and then you're like, well, I'm still here for a few more hours. Like, I'll do something else. I don't want this. I don't even. I don't. I don't work from like a source. I try to just let the painting come out of me in a like, sort of intuitive way. So like, I don't really know what to do a lot of times, or like, maybe tomorrow I can see it, or it's. It's not like I have a photograph and then I like, well, as soon as it looks like the photograph, I'm done. It's kind of like, oh, I don't know what to do with this painting. I have no idea. And then I stick it in the pile. And then a day or two or a week or a month later, I look at it and I'm like, oh, I know exactly what to do. And then I just go do it, and then, or like, oh, this gives me the idea for, what if we did this way? Or they kind of, or like when I'm working, the one will be really good and I don't want to fuck it up. So I'll like do something else. And then the new painting will be better than the first one. I'm like, well, I can mess this one up now because it's not even as good as this one. And so they kind of like feed each other in that way. And then one will be like, this one's great. I'm not going to do any more to it. But the rest of them all have to be at this level.
So they feed it to each other directly.
Yeah, absolutely. Totally.
Wow, I'm quite surprised by the process. I was going to ask if you could sort of walk us through maybe how you start or think about a painting and where the imagery is coming from and so forth.
Yeah, I draw a lot. I mean, I take photos. I do a lot of screenshots on stuff I see online. So I guess like or sometimes it'll just come to me in a dream or something, or an idea, or just something someone says, or um, and then if you try to, and sometimes I'll just be able to just paint it, but or I'll have a painting that I like, but I'm like, well, maybe if I did that with a pink sky or something, or like there's no like one way. I don't really want to have a recipe. I kind of, or I'll do a collage and then a bunch of collages, and then like one of those will be like, oh, this would be cool. It's a really big painting. But like basically, yeah, I draw and draw and draw, and then I'll be like, oh, I think this would be cool as a painting, and then I try as a painting, like this would be cool as a big painting, and so I'll try it again as a big painting. Or I guess I mean I just like make a bunch of stuff, and then some of it feels cool, or some of it feels worth pursuing, and then some of it maybe you're not ready for, and then a year later you find that drawing, you're like, actually, I think I know how to do this one now, or something. Like it's just I feel like it's like just in a non-judgmental way, just like trying to get the images out of my head and then see what they look like. So like, I take a picture of the painting at the end of the day, and then like, a month or two later and the painting's finished, I look at the picture from the beginning and the end. I'm like, well, it was like all there the whole time. I don't know why I like struggled all this time. It's like nothing even, I don't know if anyone would even tell that it got better, or like it was, the first day was like fine. Like, I don't know. It's a weird fucked up thing. Like it's
Well, how close is the drawing to the painting?
the drawing is just like 5 seconds or something. Like there's no drawings that are like resolved like drawings. They're just kind of like thumbnails or something.
Just a
Um
sketch for compositionally or for the idea.
yeah, or just like I had a friend over to the studio the other day, and he was telling me the story about when he was a little kid and he didn't know he was gay yet, and he saw this handsome man at the pool, and he like did a drawing of the guy, and he's like the body was just like a stick figure, but like I'd really drawn like a hyper detailed speedo, and you could see like his dick and the veins and everything, and I was like I want to make that painting. That sounds like a really cool painting. Just like some like I don't know. I'm like I'm gonna try to make that painting and see what it looks like. Like I don't know. It just like I don't. So I did a little thumbnail sketch. So I wouldn't forget that, and it just says like hyper detailed crotch, and so I'll remember the story. But
So there might be a narrative quality, a kind of maybe abstract narrative of some kind.
yeah, but like sometimes you just paint and like you're like, oh, this painting would be really cool if I gave this girl a unibrow, or like I think you just have to be open, like, or for me, I have to be open, like to, or I've been thinking about like making like purposefully bad things, like oh, do something you're not supposed to do and then make it work anyway, or like giving yourself little problems, or like I've been thinking about portraits lately, so I've been doing a lot of like portraits type thing, like faces and heads, and just like I could paint a portrait, like you could sit for me and I could paint and it would look like you or feel like you or whatever. But I've been thinking about like what that would, what my heads would look like, what my portraits would look like, not just, relying on nature, but if I just like how I would resolve the problem of painting a head, like it's just whatever gets your juices flowing. Like I feel like people would be like, well, look, you paint heads, you got heads in all your paintings. Like, yeah, I know, but like now I'm like thinking about it. Like that's not they were just in there, and now I'm sort of like, well, is that the way that I want to solve this problem? Like, how do you paint a hand? Like there's a billion different ways you could paint it. But like what's the way that I want to paint it so that it works for me? But I don't know. But then every time I paint a hand in a painting, I want them to all be different hands so it doesn't look like the same. I only have one move or something. Like I don't know. It just goes on and on. Or like, oh well, what happens if we put like a light on it, or if they're in a concert and it's a blue light, so now this face is blue, and then what would the highlights be? Like I don't know. I'm just like asking questions about the paintings and like how I can get them to like not just be the same painting, even though they kind of all are, like in a way.
You're really exploring what's possible in that space.
Yeah, I think I don't want to be a widget factory. I don't want them to all look the same, and I want them to, I'll have ideas, and then I'm like, I don't really feel like painting this idea. Maybe it's nothing wrong. It's just not for me or whatever. Like, I need to find something that's like exciting for me. Like, I remember in art school, like we'd have the model and the setup, and then in the beginning you're trying to paint the model, and then after a while you can, and then you can paint the model pretty good, and you can get it to look like them, and you paint it really good and really nice, and then it's sort of like, well, I can do that. That's like, I feel like towards the end of that class, the only thing I wanted to paint was like everything in this room behind it, like all the people's trash on the floor and the easels and like the stuff beyond the model. Like I would just hack the model in and then spend the rest of the time painting like the detritus and like the weird floor and you just like the shadows on the wall, like paint all that stuff because that was like more interesting to me. So I guess it's sort of that same thing of like I could make a painting, but like I want to make something that maybe I haven't seen before, or like you know something unexpected. Like even though it's still within the realm of I guess like Western New York painting or whatever. I'm trying to surprise myself, surprise the viewer. Be like, oh, when my wife was pregnant, I was like, I don't think I've seen that many like pregnant lady, like sexy beach paintings. So I was painting her on the beach in a bikini with a big belly. And like, I never see that painting, like, um, just being open to stuff like that, I guess, like just, um, trying to find subjects and content where maybe people haven't looked before or haven't seen it.
That comes out looking at your paintings. There's a freshness. All of the things that you've just been saying make a lot of sense in the context of how I perceive your work.
Oh, good. I hate when you read the wall text and you're like, that's not there at all.
I think you're also sort of laying out what it takes to make an interesting painting or to make interesting work, the mindset. And as you said, you're not making widgets. A sense of deep questioning and exploration and discovery and what is possible within a certain framework. And we, as you said, also you're working within a certain wheelhouse of New York Western painting, but within that structure, they seem just incredibly free.
Yeah, I think that's what it's all about. I mean, it's I'm not an architect. The building doesn't have to make sense. They're painting, so I want them to be, you know, without rules and limits. Just this is the time and place where I'm able to get it out and do what I want. I love that. I think that's super important.
It seems like you've been producing some quite big paintings the last few
If
years.
I like big ones. Again, the market sucks, so I'm working small a lot too. And I feel like the collages are a lower price point, so those are still pretty big. But yeah, I feel like bigger is bigger, and the small ones are like I find those to be as hard as the big ones anyway. So it may as well be big. Like But they're not too big. I mean, I feel like my biggest painting is like 96 inches. Most of them are more like 80 or 76 or something. But, like not mural size, but like, human size, I guess.
It's also encouraging to see that you have this very vital practice and very open and very, I'll say it again, free studio practice within the structure not only of the art world and the culture that we're in, New York, et cetera, but also the market, which I don't want to go on too much about it. We already kind of went down that road, but that it is possible to still make work that isn't so obviously a product. I mean, you see a lot of work out there that sells, and to me, it reads much like a product instead of being
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
process.
Yeah. Well, I could never like imagine outsourcing the fun part, like sending what you call it, a Photoshop file to China to have like some art students there make the paintings, and then we ship them back. Like that sounds horrible to me. Like,
It's really depressing. It's so much fun. Painting is just such an act of joy.
but I totally, yeah. I mean, I feel like there's artists who have paint, and there's painters who are artists. I feel like I'm like, I'm one of these painters. Like I enjoy sculpting and doing other things, but I just feel like it was like the instrument that found me that I resonated with, like in such a, I was like, oh, it's this. It's definitely this. Like I've been drawing like since I was, when I was a kid, I was like such a drawer, and it just felt like my thing. Like I have a guitar, but I'm not good at it. Like I love to play it, but it's not. It's like it's not this. Like I'm such a bedroom guitarist, but with the painting, I was like, oh, and we can go somewhere with this. This feels like me.
So you always knew that painting, you'd be a painter, that coming up as a young artist.
Once I got to art school and had a painting class, yeah, like it felt like my tribe too. I feel like I saw the sculptures and they had like missing fingers and stuff from using table saws. I was like, oh, I don't know about that. And I don't know. It just felt like the photography guys were like a little sketchy. I don't know. It just felt like I just felt like the painting group was where I wanted to be.
Why do you think that painting still resonates?
But I don't. I mean, it does for me. So like, I don't. I look at my phone too much, and like I like to watch movies and play my PlayStation, but it's still, I spend all day, every day doing it, and I still love to do it. So like, I don't know. It works for me, and I've seen people come to my studio, and I've seen it work on them. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if I want to know. Like,
I think it's ingrained in the species. It's just a part of us.
yeah, there's cave paintings. Like
Yeah.
I think it's like the first communicate. If you're in a foreign country and you want to ask for the bathroom, if you draw them a picture of a toilet, they'll know. If you can't say it in Japanese or something, like you can communicate with drawing. You can.
It's
That's a language
universal.
everybody. Yeah, totally. So I feel like, and if you want to get deep and look at a painting, like I feel like if people are open to it, like it's something. I mean, like I draw with my kid. Like she get like it's there in a 2-year-old for sure. You
Before
know.
they can speak, they start drawing, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah. That's. I'm gonna get her to start washing brushes in a few years.
Yeah. Make her earn that.
Yeah, that New York rent's expensive. You got to start stretching these canvases.
What are some things that you gravitate towards in terms of looking at paintings, both historical and contemporary?
I guess. I mean, I feel like whenever I go to a studio visit, I'm always like, I know how you can make these look more like mine, and like that's, or like these would be a lot better if you did it like I do it. Like and like I'm kind of joking, but I'm also kind of like, yeah. I mean, the painters that you think I would like are the ones that I like. There's lots of stuff I appreciate and lots of stuff that I really like. But there's the things that I love are like Titian, Rembrandt, Goya, um, you know, de Kooning, Guston. I mean, Max Beckmann's huge for me. I love Dana Schutz's paintings. Some on tours paintings are really good right now. My neighbor Jules de Belancourt's paintings I like a lot. Talamadani, she's awesome. Shara Hughes. I don't know. It goes on and on.
There's so many great painters. It's amazing the diversity. I think it's really healthy being in New York and being
But you know what else I think this is so unavoidable is in New York, like you can sell paintings and like we don't have any kind of like arts council funding or like subsidized studio spaces really. So, seeing it the art world through Hannah's eye, through my wife's eyes, like coming from London where you can get like some money to curate a show or get some money to make your work and it feels much more ephemeral and you know it's not so painting heavy, but then you don't have to come up with that bill every month. So you can kind of afford to not paint. I feel like the painting in New York is really heavy because like you can sell a painting. I don't know, maybe that's cynical, but it sure sometimes feels that way.
I think that's just the truth, though. That was also mentioned in the Josh Klein piece.
Well, I mean, the Venice Biennale, like, is there gonna be any painting in that? I mean, when was the last time? I mean, usually I've been there a couple times, and like when you go to the pavilions, it's never painting. It's always, I guess for museums, like it just feels like, and again, my wife's is more intellectual to me, and she's more plugged in with like contemporary arts and stuff. I mean, I feel like I'm just in my room making my paintings, and it's like this personal expression thing, and her art world is much more like about what's going on now and the politic and all these things. And painting's not dead. It's just not very. It doesn't feel like it's like pushing anything forward or like the Whitney Biennial. Like it doesn't feel like it's any kind of the main conversation. I don't know. It's just not doing that in society at the moment for whatever. We're not going to have another Picasso where like everything revolves around this painter. It doesn't feel like that's the medium that maybe young artists who are interested in pushing things forward are drawn towards as much. I don't know. I mean, for better or worse, so you could just get to be in your studio and just do whatever you want, and you don't have to worry about being on trend or reacting to this thing that's happening. I don't know. I feel like there's like I go in my room and I make my little paintings and I just am in my world. And then I come out and like I read the Twitter and the newspaper and I'm just like, holy shit. It's like I don't know what I can do about like it doesn't feel like I can do anything about this in a painting. Maybe I'm not don't have the mind for that or something. But like I don't want to make Trump paintings. Like I don't want to I don't know. I don't know.
I've been saying this a lot, but I think art is more important than people understand or realize, and painting as well. And the fact that you're making paintings that are honest, they're creative, they have all these qualities that I think should exist more in the world is just
Hmm.
the act of doing it is important.
I need to hear that sometimes because I feel like that's just by making art is political enough. Like by being in your studio making your painting, your humble painting, as opposed to shopping on Amazon or you know building a data center or like all I hear about all these horrible billionaires and all these horrible people like destroying the planet and everything. And I got in an argument with these people at a party one time. They were saying that like Bloomberg was such a great guy because when he was the mayor, he was helping the homeless and stuff. And I'm like, well, he's not helping them now. He's not the mayor, and like this sort of idea that billionaires, by not like shooting somebody in the face, but by just like taking everybody's money and making life shitty for everybody, that their little acts of charity sometimes somehow make them like a better person than me because I haven't like lifted somebody out of poverty. I'm just like making my paintings in the cave. Like I'm sort of like I feel like by not having a negative effect, it outweighs the fact that my positive effect is maybe more negligible and just a like, oh,
I think it's just not as quantifiable.
yeah,
I think the positive effect is absolutely real. and it's happening on a consciousness level. And I think,
Mm.
you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I don't, I mean, say more.
Yeah, well, that's the thing is that it slows down your consciousness, and then consciousness is so permeable that it slows down other people's consciousness. If everybody painted or had an art practice, it would change, it would change the world. Not just for that reason of slowing things down, but because it also trains you that there is nuance. You know, a painting is so many things at once. It's an object, it's an image, it's all this form of expression. It's your personal, your maybe your thoughts, your fears, your hopes, and it's all this stuff.
Yeah.
You have to realize, oh, life isn't exactly so clear. There's all this nuance, and in that's where it gets interesting.
Well, on that note, thinking of the sort of nepo babies that maybe you're a little jealous of making art. It's like, well, at least they're just making paintings and they're not like, doing something negative.
Yeah,
It seems like a lot of people when they get the chance to do whatever they want and they decide to make art, it's like, well, that's fucking amazing. And that's like, if we all didn't have to worry about money and we all made art, like, that sounds pretty great.
as you said, just the fact when you're making art, you're not hurting somebody, and that alone, but I think it is more, there's like this, there's also a way of connecting, there's a way of making people. And as I said, when I look at your paintings, I get a there's a brightness and it makes me happy. And so that's it's like what is a song worth? What is music worth? You can't really
Mm,
quantify it, but it's on that level. It's like poetry. I think the best stuff is always stuff that can't be, that there's no metrics for and quantified. There was one piece in the Whitney Biennial that I really enjoyed. There was a video, I can't remember the artist, but it was about Sanhattan, which is like in Santiago. It's like a weird Pinochet deal where he tried to make like a Manhattan skyline in Chile, in Santiago, called
cool.
Sanhattan. And it was kind of, there's a lot of weirdness going on there. And they talked about the history of that, what was happening with that. Well done and poetic and a beautiful film. But one thing they said was that the way that money is worshipped like a god is very strange and so completely abstract, even compared to other things that you could store and hoard, like gold and spices, things that are tangible. You would at
Yeah.
least, you could touch those things, but you can't touch
Yeah.
numbers. You know, we
Right.
just we worship this abstract god of
It's all
numbers
made
here.
up. It's
Yeah,
all made up. It's all made up. The economy is it's just something we all agreed on. It's not
yes,
real.
exactly. And you're making tangible things, the real things, actual objects that have a vibrational quality and a real effect. I had a friend on the podcast recently who was talking about a painting as this kind of source of energy that doesn't fade. You can look at a painting that's 500 years old and it's still giving off that same energy. That's remarkable.
Yeah, you're reaching out across time and finding another person who felt the way you feel. Like that's the magic stuff. And then you have kids and become a dad and look at the painting and it does something different now. Like you change and the painting changes with you. It's really cool to get to participate in this art world conversation and make stuff that sometimes does stuff like that.
What a privilege.
Yeah, no, it's so much fun too.
The culture could really benefit and does benefit. And then same thing with, I go to a monastery sometimes in New Hampshire, and I think the monks, they talk about this kind of stuff that people say, well, what are you doing? You're just kind of sitting there. You're not really contributing, or you're not making, and one of them was explaining that he was an activist before he became a monk, and he would go out
Mm,
there and he was just angry, just really trying to change things. And why don't you do? And then he said, he wouldn't want the rest of the world to have that anger and the same attitude and the same energy that he was giving off. And when you go up there, you just feel peaceful. They're really refining their conscious experience and awareness to the
yeah.
place where you absorb that energy, and it's very calming and relaxing. So I think people like monks and artists make the culture more thoughtful, I think, if not
We need,
calmer. Yeah.
we need to work harder then.
Yeah, we're just doing it and just being there. I mean, you can't, I think in Rick Rubin's book, have you read that, The Creative Act?
I don't think I have. I'll read it. I read. I mostly read like fantasy and sci-fi, but
Oh
I'll
yeah.
give.
What do you read? What do you like?
Oh, I just finished Red Rising. Have you read those books? There's like six of them. There's one more coming out. I thought it was only six, and I got to the end. I was like, I don't know how they're gonna wrap this up. And then I'm like, oh, there's another one that hadn't come out yet.
Those are really addictive.
Yeah, no, I read like three in a row, and then read another book, and then read the other three in a row. Like I was, yeah, it was really good.
Have you read any Adrian Tchaikovsky?
No, what are those?
A series called Children of Time, Children of Memory, and there's like a
I
it's
think
amazing.
it's
It's
on my
really
list.
it's really
Okay,
good. It's
cool.
remarkable. Do books feed into your work at all?
Jeez, I don't know. I mean, I don't.
Not on a conscious level, perhaps.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't know. I mean, I feel like every once in a while I'll try to do like a Lord of the Rings painting or a like or an X-Men painting or a Ninja Turtles painting or something like adjacent to that. But I don't know. I don't know if that could be like my main thing. I feel like most of the painting subject matter is more like personal. So like I like how the books have like a happy ending. Like my brother, he only reads like nonfiction. He's like really into history and biographies and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, but I need like the loose ends tied up. I need the bad guys to suffer and go to jail or whatever. Like I can't. I feel like I feel like my maybe it's just been over the past like 8 years or something. Like I just need more escapism where like I know things are gonna be okay or something. Like so maybe in that way the paintings kind of having a bit of optimism comes from that sort of wrap up the loose ends and geez, I don't know. That's kind of a stretch. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's just for fun. It might just be for fun.
Yeah, well, you need to have that too, though. That's a part
Yeah.
of it.
Yeah, I don't feel bad about it at all. Yeah, I found this Reddit forum where these people try to read 52 books a year, and so that was my goal. But I think I'm like 13 books behind already.
That's pretty good. That's pretty ambitious.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I'm not going to make it.
I've actually been trying to read Proust, and I've been reading the same. I've been reading the first book, Swan's Way, for
I
like
read that one. I read
you
that
read
one.
that?
Yeah,
You read it? Yeah, yeah.
just the
Amazing.
first one. My brothers
Yeah,
read the whole thing.
mine too. My brother was the one who gave me these books, and
Yeah,
I'll read like a paragraph a day and be like, what?
yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't think I don't think any of it stuck to my brain. Like I read it, but I don't know if I like read it.
It
You
makes me
know,
feel a little bit like a dummy because I'll be reading it and then be like, wait, what? And I have to go back like four times because
it's
it's so meandering.
it's all one sentence. It's like there's no period. It just goes on and on and on.
Yeah, it's like a sentence for like two pages.
Yeah,
It's really amazing stuff. But really, I think he was really kind of getting at what the conscious experience is like,
yeah, yeah,
the quality of consciousness, really. And of
yeah,
course, the
yeah,
scene with the Madeline. For people that don't know about that, there was a famous scene in sort of the beginning of the first book, Swan's Way, where he dips a Madeline in some tea and it transports him back into childhood because of the taste of the Madeline.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I've had that experience where you smell something and you haven't smelled, maybe someone's perfume, and you're like, oh my God, I'm 16 again, you know, hanging out with these people. Like I hadn't smelled CK1 in a long time, and like now all of a sudden I'm like, in the backseat of some car.
Yeah, smoking cigarettes in the 90s, right?
Oh yeah, oh yeah,
Yeah. Did you used to smoke?
yeah. For many years, but I've quit. Um,
Yeah, that was a hard one. I quit too at probably 10 years ago. The smoking
yeah,
and painting really went together, I thought.
I was like,
I
if I can't, if I would step back and smoke and look at the painting and contemplate, and when I quit, I was like, if the painting starts to suck, I'm just gonna have to smoke. Like,
How did you have like some gum or something you used or
you know what? I got invited to go teach down at Louisiana State, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna be down here. I don't really know anybody. I'm just there for the semester. I'm gonna quit smoking. I won't have my triggers. I won't have, my little routine is gonna it'll help me. And I got down there, and I think at the time you get like cigarettes in New York for like $10 a pack or something. And I got down there, and they were like 250, and I was like, all right, after this, I'm gonna quit.
Oh man. Early on in like the online ordering days, you could just order them online. It was super cheap. I was rolling my own at that point. So I would order these huge tins
Yeah.
of it for like $10.
Yeah, that and then they caught on. They started they raised the tax on that because I remember the rollies were like $5, then all of a sudden they were like 12.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
like I don't like the, I like I just like I didn't like to roll them as much though.
I got
When
into it.
this
That's part of the
yeah,
ritual. Yeah, it's
did
part
you
of the
put a
ritual.
filter on there and
Yeah, I
everything?
did. Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Whatever it takes, I guess. Like that's the kind of attitude that you kind of have at a certain point. Anything, it's just about painting, and then your life kind of changes. You age, and you have other priorities. You know, you like to stay healthy as long as you can, and but you can
Mhm.
still. That's the beautiful thing about having a strong studio practice and making art is that at any age you can do it.
Oh my God, I went to Bill Jensen's studio this past week, and he just turned 80, and he's got so much work on. Like it looks, he's cranking. Like
That dude is
yeah,
awesome.
and
I
it's
love his work.
as good as it's ever been. Like it's.
At 80, it's amazing.
Yeah, like totally. If we had been professional dancers or something, at some point your body kind of breaks down, like
Or a tennis player. I was watching
tennis
part of this
player.
documentary about Rafa, the
Oh
tennis
yeah,
player. They showed scenes of him when he was 19 and winning the championship.
on the clay, I think,
The
right?
clay, exactly. And he was like a god. He looked like
Yeah.
he was just ripped and young and beautiful. And then now, now he really didn't age well. I'm just like, because that's a hard life, man. You're like putting your body through a lot of shit. And
Sliding around on your knees and
yeah,
yeah, I mean,
that's
it's hard. You got to switch to mixed doubles at that point, I think.
he's retired, right? After
Oh, I don't know.
I
I mean,
think I think he
he's probably my age, so he should be.
I think he's retired, but I think he went for a long time and he finally retired, I believe. And then hence the documentary is like sort of like his retirement statement or whatever it is. But we're just so lucky to be able to produce your whole life. That's so encouraging to hear that Bill Jensen is making some of his best work at 80.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's no retirement plan, is there? You don't have
You
to
know,
do a 401(k) or anything. You're just going to work till the end, I guess.
that's a beautiful thing. You know what you're going to be doing, right?
Yeah, and it's as Canada, like when I have a few days or a week that I don't get to go paint, like it really affects every like I maybe it's like my cigarettes now. Like I need to be in that room, like it really fucks up my whole life when I go too long without it. Like I don't know that many people. My brother, the lawyer, I don't know if he feels that way about going to work. Like, it's nice that I've it's nice that I mean it's nice when you get paid too, but it's nice when you find this thing you're like, oh man, I love doing this like so much, and I can't wait to work on that thing I was working on yesterday. Like I don't know where it's gonna go. Like something cool might happen. It's a really really great feeling.
Oh, it's the best. I was talking to Donna Nelson, or she was giving a talk. Do you know the artist?
Yeah, I love those.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she's
she paints on
amazing.
both sides of the.
Yeah. Yeah,
Those are so
she was
cool.
on the podcast. I talk about her all the time because she taught for a number of years. She really refined thinking about painting in a certain way. Having to talk
Yeah.
about it, I think really developed the skill of articulating ideas within painting.
Mm.
She said she had this experience of being in Spain and being like, I should be painting. I should be painting
Yeah.
right now. So
Yeah.
most people I don't think would be like, I'm in Spain. I wish I was back working, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. 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 You're on vacation. Like, yeah. But I feel like all of our vacations revolve around us going someplace to work. Like, when people are like, do you want to go see the sights? I'm like, I guess we probably should. But if you just like leave me in my studio this whole month, I'd probably be fine with that too. Like,
That's the move, man. Doing a residency overseas and just being able to be in a place like that and have your studio there.
yeah, it, again, like for young artists, like looking on how to do this life, like if you're in New York some of the time doing residency some of the time, just sort of patch it together.
You just recently had a show close in Italy, is that right?
Milan, yeah, yeah. I did a residency in London with Ali App called Plop, and I made the paintings the month I was in London, and then we rolled them up and shipped them to Italy and came over. Um, yeah, it was really cool. Milan's great. The guy's really nice. Wizard Gallery, and so that just closed. I guess is this June? So that closed in April. So yeah. I mean, I sent some drawings to some works on paper to the show in Bali last month. with Tripoli. This guy's got a gallery out on in the Hamptons, and he did a thing where he brought it all in the suitcase and like kind of like punk rock style, like put a show up over there. Um, yeah, yeah. I don't know what the next one will be, but I'm sure it'll be. I'm sure I'll do something. That
Great.
Italy show, those are all acrylic paintings.
Oh, you did? Really?
Yeah, yeah,
Oh, I meant to ask you, you're painting in oil or acrylic?
both. But
Indeed.
on a residency, it's nice to do acrylic because you can just roll it up. You don't have to wait for it to dry. Like I literally just like rolled up the paintings and then brought them on the plane with me to Italy.
So you might paint in just oil or just acrylic.
Well, in New York, it's usually oil, but when I'm in Europe, it just feels easier to do acrylic paintings because I was only there for a month. Like, and I made three big paintings in a month. I couldn't do that in oil for no way.
They have the same quality. They really have the same energy.
Yeah, I mean, I try to make it. I try to make it feel like I'm glad you can't tell.
What medium do you use in oil and what medium do you use in acrylic?
Like just gel medium. And I use fluid acrylics sometimes too with the fluid stuff. And with oil, it's I think right now it's just like turpentine and linseed and damar and stand oil, like nothing too weird.
Most people seem to choose one or the other. I'm impressed that you could just switch back and forth.
It's there's like a week or a few days when you go back to the other one where like this doesn't work. This is weird. This is weird. And then eventually you kind of like, oh yeah, here we are. Here we are. It, but it takes a second, especially going back to oil. I'm like, what is going on? It feels totally bizarre. Or like or like right now the oil paints are like super thick. And I'm like, I kind of think that's because I've been working in acrylic so long that I could just change things, like, go to lunch and repaint the painting. And with the oil, I'm like, I'm not patient, so this is just getting more paint on it. Like, and I'm hoping it's a phase because they feel kind of chunky right now. Like, I don't know, I don't know.
You got to go with the energy of it, right? Like
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I feel like I'm still learning, still trying to figure out how this all works or something. Like, I don't know. Every time like it's like I don't even know what I don't know. Like, what color is this? I don't even know. Like, I don't know. It feels like it's a lot of trial and error, a lot of messing around.
that's why they're so good and so much fun. Because you have
May-
that spirit of
Maybe so, maybe so.
openness. Yeah. Yeah, no, I think it's true. And like just it's awesome to hear you talk about it in that way that I can tell that you approach it with this freshness that is communicated in your paintings. That's how life really all of life should be approached because that is every moment is new and fresh and we don't nobody knows what's going on. We're just figuring it out.
No, totally. Everybody's just pretending like they know. I really feel that. I'm like, man, I'm just like a 16-year-old, like in a 46-year-old body. Like, I don't really, like, I'm like, yes, yes, I know. I am an adult now. Yeah, totally.
And I think embracing that is the best move.
This works for me.
That's it. Oh man. Well, I really appreciate you doing this, and I appreciate your work and everything you're bringing to painting, and just keep going, please.
It's so nice to talk to you.
It's great to talk to you too.
Have a great summer. Thanks for having me.
You too.